All right, here we go. One, two, three. Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Saturday morning, early Pacific Coast time, 7 a.m. and 9 o'clock Houston time. Welcome to a special edition of SecurityGuideTV.com with my good pal, Mr. Chuck Andrews of Friends of Chuck. And Chucky, you're in Houston, Texas. That's where you live, born and bred. And you're going to give us an update on
That's right. That's
the
it.
Great
Yep.
Flood. Yeah. So, first of all,
Yeah, the Harvey flood.
well, let's let everybody know, first of all, that you have no internet, limited spotty electricity, and we're able to get a signal on your phone. So we could be a little spotty and interrupted here and there, but for the most part, we're streaming. So take it away. Tell us what's going on up there.
Well, Chuck, it's good to catch up with you. And as I've been in contact with a lot of people around the globe, especially my ASIS international colleagues and friends, I've like received over 1,000 Facebook instant messages, to emails and texts and phone calls. The support's really been overwhelming. We just got out of the subdivision. We've been waterlocked for about 6 days, and we were able to get out yesterday. But literally a block and a half away is 6 feet of water in people's houses. This has been one of the most destructive events and that I've ever witnessed, both as a law enforcement officer and a security person. I've never seen anything like this. Fortunately, our house and cars were spared by a matter of feet. Um, I just happened to be the highest point on this cul-de-sac where I live, which is actually in Harris County, northwest Harris County, near Cypress Creek. There's a lot of media around the flooding of Cypress Creek, but there's people with 10 feet of water 3 blocks away, in their houses completely destroyed. So we're making the best of a bad situation. Thanks for having me on the air. This is a way to reach out to all those people who've been trying to communicate with me. I'm good. We prepared properly for this. All my Boy Scout training and law enforcement training and security training is paid off with multiple contingencies. And as we watch for the other hurricanes that are inbound, the season's not over with. So we're keeping our supplies at ready and replenishing for the rest of the season.
Now,
So it's been quite the ordeal, to say the least.
give us an idea of where you live in the area for people that aren't familiar. You're in Houston. Are you north of Houston, west of Houston? Whereabouts are you? Like from city center, how far away?
So I'm in Northwest. Sure. So if you take, Houston has three concentric ring highways around it. You have 610. That's one circle. Then you have Beltway 8. It's another circle. And then you have 99, which is not completed, but it'll go around that circle. It's like 200 miles, I think, around. It's a long road. Anyway, I'm at basically Beltway 8 and 249 area, which is Cypress Tomball. And the Cypress, Little Cypress Creek and Cypress Creek are two of the big issues out here that flood in a very big way. In April of last year, tax season, they had a flood. They were locked in for a few days, but no actual water got into the subdivision. It's probably 500 yards off. In this particular case, their entire subdivision was a river. But fortunately, it just started to recede just in time. Everybody else had about an inch before it came into their front door stoop. I had a few feet to go. But that's where I'm located in northwest Harris County.
So I was talking to you the other day, and you had some live pictures of that water you were showing me, and it was creeping up. And you were saying that some neighbors, I think before the show, you said some neighbors down the road are still under 10 feet of water. I mean, are you just up on a little rise? You just got lucky.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's just we have elevation here, but literally elevation 2 blocks away. That was just enough for this quote unquote 800-year flood to survive it. Now, one house, and we have 31 homes in our subdivision, and one of them did take in a little bit of water. We were helping them over the last couple of days with the things that they needed to get cleaned up. You get educated very quickly, and thanks to social media and Google and all the technology access to do exactly what needs to be done, which is rip out the carpet, get things dried, dehumidifiers. Everybody's helping everybody around here. So far, so good. But there's a lot of work to be done. And listen, it's really important to understand that we got lucky. I mean, there are people that are 100 times worse off than us. Start with Corpus Christi and Rockport, all around Houston, all the way to Beaumont. It is catastrophic. You cannot underestimate the amount of damage that has been done. It's not going to take a year to fix. It's going to take 10 to 15 years to fix in totality. People don't understand that. Ike and Rita, there's still buildings that aren't repaired. So this is going to be a long, expensive process. But with the support here, and that's what I want folks to understand, the Texas spirit is alive and strong. Houston strong, Texas strong. You see that theme going on everywhere. And the people of Texas just have a love that moves deeper than their sense of pride. It's a Texas thing, and it's really a calling a person. It's kind of who we are. And Texas, obviously this is with some bias, but we're one of the friendliest states in the union. And there's a gentleman that actually recently wrote an article who is not from Texas, who moved here. And he wrote this great article, and he said basically that Texans have a central passion that runs through Texans like any other American identity. You see the pride, and it percolates to the top. And in this case, it rises far above any floods post Harvey that we're having to deal with. So let's talk about that so people understand. So wind was not really an issue for Harvey here in the greater Houston area. It's about flooding and drainage and elevation and rivers and creeks and bayous, right? So as I speak, rivers have not crested. If you go to my home county, which is Brazoria County, Angleton, Lake Jackson, Richwood, Jones Creek, Pearland, Alvin, in those areas, you have the Brazos River, you have the San Bernard River, you have Oyster Creek, you have Buffalo Bayou, you have all these bodies of water. What you have to understand in a hurricane scenario is when all this rain dumps, it has to go somewhere. And in this case, with the amount of rainfall we had, which I think here we had 51 inches, there's no place for it to go. Eventually, it'll work its way to those streams and rivers around that I just explained to you, and they end up on counties that border the Gulf Coast. And as I speak, all those houses are flooding at this very time and this very moment. I have hundreds of friends and families, lifelong, that are losing their homes and cars and property as a result of this in Brazoria County. And it's just slowly creeping into their homes. So that's what's going on. We should be able to crest in that county, which borders the Gulf of Mexico, which is below Houston, Harris County, in the next, I think, 24 to 48 hours. They're watching it very carefully. But just struck all that water coming from and then flowing to the. That's pretty devastating, and it's still happening right now.
Oh, we lost Chuck for 1 second there, Chuck. I'm gonna make a comment about Texas. Well, I'm trying to get your signal back. So I drove through there, as you know, a year ago. I drove Catacorner all the way through Texas down to Houston and then off to Florida, and I was just amazed at the hospitality. I would drive in the middle of nowhere. I'm driving for hours. There's desert. Here's a town. And the town looks like something out of a 1959, Paramount Pictures movie. But it has a new post office. It has a new high school. The infrastructure was in place. The people were the nicest people I've ever met. It was very welcoming and friendly. And I will say, as an outsider, although I got stopped 5 times, Chuck, you got to fix that. They don't like California cars. That's for sure, the cops. But what friendly people. And I see a lot of news stuff. I hear stories through how people are pitching in. It's just what you do in Texas. You help all your neighbors. You help everybody. Let's talk about that outpouring of the spirit and how people are not relying on the government to take care of this, because the government's going to be a factor in it, but it's really the people that are taking care of the situation, helping each other, isn't it? Oh, Chucky, I lost your microphone. All right, Chuck's going to work on his microphone for a minute. Let me see if I can pull up some photos for you guys. I was trying to do that a second ago, and it wasn't great technical things I was doing. But let's push up some of these photos here and take a look. So he sent me this. This is a flag that was out there. That was kind of a cool shot somebody took. He didn't take that, but somebody else did. Now, this is from Chuck's neighborhood. This is just right down the street a few days ago where everything was kind of underwater. And he was just making these observations and sending these photos to me. There's a car, one of his neighbors down the street. And let's see what we got here. Here's another one. Now, this is just kind of the road that leads into his complex, and that water was moving up towards his house.
Yeah. Chuck, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. You're back, Chuck. I'm just showing everybody these photos by your house, of the water kind of creeping up there.
Yeah, we couldn't there's only one way in, one way out in the subdivision, which for security reasons, that's a great thing to have, but right. You're limited on how you can get out. You see this picture right here. This is our neighbor. Actually, these folks moved here from Alaska. They're quite adventurous. So the high school kids took their time to make a raft. So if, I guess somebody needed to get out, they could.
Yeah.
By putting a few things together.
So this is the main road up to your house, in and out, and you just couldn't get out. You were landlocked.
Correct.
Completely stuck. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the car. It got up to about 6 feet down there to the top of the stop sign. And if you took a left there, that would take you to Little Cypress Creek. Yeah, this car is in the aftermath. This gentleman tried to get out without assistance, I think, and he went over the curb, or the water moved it. But this is after the water had settled down a little bit and was drawing back into Cypress Creek. It's still drawing back into Cypress Creek. It's completely, nothing's back to normal at all. But just to comment, Chuck, on the Texas spirit and Texas culture, and listen, when you come to Texas, people are going to be helpful and friendly, and Texans are rising up everywhere. And, but you got to give a shout out to folks in Louisiana who have been living for this for a long time. There's a group there called the Cajun Navy. And the Cajun Navy are a bunch of skilled boat handlers and mariners. Been around a long time, and they have performed thousands of rescues. And you really got to understand and appreciate the kind of resources and dedication and volunteerism and being neighborly when you have to stand in line for hours at the George R. Brown Convention Center just to volunteer. It's unbelievable the amount of resources that are coming in. All the co-op electrical companies around the surrounding states have been coming in to make sure power gets restored. From up in Oklahoma, that big company up there is driven down, and it's like fleets for miles of vehicles inbound. Texas National Guard is in here. Multiple state National Guards have been deployed here to help and assist. Law enforcement is working around the clock. Yesterday, I spoke to the assistant chief of the Houston Police Department and coordinated with McDonald's security director here to move their 18-wheeler to feed all their first responders in the parking lot of the Houston Police Officers Union. So wherever I can help and connect, people are calling me, and I'm trying to put resources and people together to make sure that our first responders are getting taken care of. We also had there's two stores here in Texas. One's called HEB, and for people around here, they'll know who we're talking about. And Buc-ee's convenience store. Shout out to Steve Dorn. He loves Buc-ee's when he comes to Texas. Buc-ee's, that guy who started that, it's a Big Beaver convenience store. They've opened their doors along with HEB to be helpful with food, shelters, cooking. HEB rolled out their 18-wheelers literally to set up shop to feed thousands and thousands of people. Where else are you going to see that but in Texas, right? It's just really unique. the outpouring from businesses. Gallery Furniture is a famous gentleman, Jim McInvale. We call him Mattress Mac. One of the most philanthropic supporters of all things Houston, people, sports, community, art, culture. Mac completely opened his store immediately and let hundreds and hundreds of people come and sleep on his mattresses in his store. Where does that happen? But only in Texas. So everybody is going the distance here just to reach out and be helpful in any way they can, and that's just part of our culture, and that'll continue. Um, I'm trying to think of a few other things to share with you, that are going on security related. All our security colleagues and all the security companies are working around the clock. Here's what I do know. It's most recent. I've gotten a couple of phone calls, one from Stanley Security. They were offering up tools so people could have tools. Building Intelligence was offering some of their systems. They're based out of New York. They reached out and said, hey, if you need a system to register accountability of people coming and going, that they're offering all this gratis, as well as Stanley. Those are just a couple of examples. And of course, people in the law enforcement security business have to work the job as well as take care of their own family. And given the level of impact this has had on just about everyone here, literally and figuratively, um, they have to deal with both worlds. So you can imagine having to take care of your family and your property and assets, but at the same time, with your clients being able to maintain security for their assets, and somebody's got to be out there to do that. You got to have boots on the ground. I'm sure you can appreciate that, Chuck. You've been in this business a long time as well.
Well, let's talk about people that want to help. I mean, sometimes people want to go to the area and offer
Chuck, are you
help.
there?
Oh, I can hear you, Chuck. Can you hear me? I'm still here. Nope, Chuck he froze a little bit there for a second. He'll be back in a sec. I want to ask Chuck when he comes back. There you are.
Are we
Can you hear
back,
me?
Chuck?
Yeah. Listen,
Can you
I'm
hear
amazed.
me?
I can hear you. I'm amazed we got this signal off your phone. I mean, this is kind of great technology. Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of times people want to come to the area and help in a disaster like this. What are you recommending, or
Yep.
what are officials recommending? I mean, it might be hard to even get there. It could cause to more traffic. What's the best routes for people to help out right now?
So go online and start with the Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund. Look at there for the city of Houston, our mayor's office for coordination, or the state of Texas, Governor Greg Abbott's information. They're going to post where there are some opportunities to volunteer. Now, look, some people have just shown up. My son's been down at the Ben Taub Hospital and the George R. Brown cooking and helping. And eventually, I know at some point at the George R. Brown, where there's thousands of people sleeping on cots, they had more volunteers than they knew what to do with. So they're pushing those folks out to other locations. So they would start there. That would be probably a great start, is to go online and get the latest updated information. Everything that's going on is dynamic, and it's changing very quickly. So find the latest information, Houston City Mayor's office, and then with Harris County Flood Control District, with the county commissioners, and look for where there's opportunities that you might be able to volunteer with.
Are there places people could ship things to? Red Cross centers or anything like that being
You know,
coordinated?
so this is a really big challenge, because people want to do something, and that's just innate in events like this of disaster. You know, everybody's under a lot of stress, and there's people outside who want to help but they can't help. So lessons learned over the last 35 years, and places like the American Red Cross, or, you know, groups like that are built for managing disasters, of taking money, buying goods, and then the site logistics and supply chain of getting those goods to the right people. They're set up to do this. So what I would tell you, if you want to do something, donate, right? Michael Dell up in Austin, he's already put up 36 million. J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans is, one of the most loved players in the NFL. Guy started out with 200 grand of his own money. He's up to almost 12 million. It's really unprecedented. Facebook and Amazon, Red Cross, Hurricane Harvey Relief Fund, all these groups, right, are putting up money in this. I just know that groups like the American Red Cross are set up for disasters. And so make a donation. Right now you can go onto Facebook and they're selling T-shirts, right? Texas Strong, Houston Strong T-shirts. And get yourself a T-shirt, and all that money is going to get donated to the different organizations here in the greater Houston area to help out with the Harvey relief. That's my recommendation. Sending a package, we don't know where it's going to end up.
Right.
I know from lessons from post Sandy. I had a phone call yesterday where a particular security company had sent like literally 100,000 masks. There was an environmental health and safety company, right? And none of them were used and touched. So there has to be a system in place that's critical for logistics and distribution. And groups like the American Red Cross, whether you like them or not, they're set up to do this. And that's the easiest way to make a donation. And get a free T-shirt, post your picture, give us your love and support down here in Houston, Harris County. And at least we not forget Brazoria County, Victoria, Corpus Christi, Rockport, Aransas Pass. This is all affecting across all of Southeast Texas. This is not limited to Houston, but obviously given its density and population, the impact has been catastrophic down here. But we will rise up.
Chuck Andrews, FriendsOfChuck.net, the famous security organization. Everybody check out his website on Facebook and FriendsOfChuck.net. Chucky, as we like to call him here in California, thanks for joining us, and I'm glad we could connect with this technology, and hope your family and loved ones are all safe out there and continue to recover. So maybe check in.
Thanks, Chuck.
And let us know what's going on. All right.
Yep. So hopefully I'll see everybody at the ASIS International Conference.
Oh, that's right. We hope so, right? And the Texas Night Party before that on Sunday, right?
Yeah, a pretty nice celebration on Sunday, September 20 p.m. Short of any major hurricanes and major incidents, I plan to be there. I hope to see you there and shake your hand and thank you personally for your support of what's going on post-Harvey situation. I hope to see everybody there. Just blessed that, again, we were just very, very lucky, very blessed not to take in water in the house. We were quite prepared to have a couple of feet of water. All right, Chucky, thank you. I appreciate it. And everybody stay safe out there. Until ASIS at the conference, we'll see you there.